Thank you for coming and joining us for our webinar today. My name is Jane Solis, and I work with our readiness team. We'll be talking today about how you can save time on scheduling logistics with Training Key. Today we'll be talking over some different topics like what is a training key, what types of training keys are available for you to use, what do all training keys have in common, and then individually how each training key can be created, canceled, billed, and found afterwards. First off, it's what is a training key? Training keys are to help you manage creating user accounts and training for students. A training key is a code you can distribute to users. That code is redeemed creating their training. It can also be used for them to create their user account to register. There are 4 different types of training keys. 2 are used for classes and 2 are used for self-paced learning. The class training keys are enrollment training keys and event training keys, and the self-paced training keys are created through a training key pool or from a subscription training key. Let us start our demo. In general, there are several things that are in common with all training keys. First is you're not charged anything for creating training keys. You can create as many keys as you want. Your organization may require some setup in order to use training keys. You'll want to contact our support if you're not set up already to use them. One thing that all training keys have in common is how students redeem them. If I'm a completely new user and I have never been logged into your page before, you can set up your login page to have this register with training key field added to it. You would distribute a training key. The user would come here, they click on the register with training key field, and they input the key that you've given them and click register. And now it's going to take them into a page where they have to create their user account. And it only requires them to input the information that is required for a user profile. And I'll hit save. And then I'm going to be delivered straight into my training. And this is a course assignment for self-paced training, and it opens up directly to it. If you are set up to redeem a training key on your login page, you can do it that way. And the other way is for existing users to be able to log in and redeem a key. If I already have a user account, I'm going to log in using that account, and I'm going to be taken straight into this current training page. That's my landing page. Then I can click on this redeem training key link and get a training key to redeem. And when I hit redeem training key, it again is going to open directly into my training. When I log in and I already have an account, I'm always going to use my username and password. I'm going to be dropped on my current training page, and I can reopen any of my items or my course assignments from this page. So the first key that we're going to start talking about is an enrollment training key. And this is one of the class training keys. Each user is given a unique key to register for the class. When the user redeems the key, it enrolls them and their class enrollment opens for them. Enrollment training keys can be redeemed before class starts, right up until the class end time. When the student redeems the key, they're registered for the class in the enrolled status. That means that once the class starts, they'll have access to all the materials inside the class and be able to launch their labs. To cancel a student, it's like any standard enrollment. The student or the administrator can cancel a student right up until the time the class starts. After that point in time, you need to contact support for assistance in canceling a student. Billing takes place based on the class having started, and any student in an enrolled status is a billable event for us that you'll be invoiced for. To create enrollment training keys, the first thing you have to do is have a class created. Once that is created, you have this set of links up here, and you can click on the training keys link. From here, I can generate my keys, and it will allow me to generate up to the maximum number of students in the class. You can come in here and create one at a time. You can create all 20, whatever you wish to do. So you might want to just create them as you distribute them. It depends on how you want to manage that. Once you have created those training keys, you can export them. If you have multiple people distributing keys, this is probably a good thing to do, and keep a shared list where you can tell which key has been distributed so you're not giving out the same key to other people. Distribution is normally done by email. It's the easiest way to get someone the key and they can copy it in and enroll ahead of time before class starts. And there's different ways that you can view training keys. For instance, once they have been redeemed, this is the same training key page. Once it's redeemed, it'll show you the date, who it was that redeemed it, and you can always verify the key, and then you can see which keys have not been redeemed from this page. There's quite a few places where you can see these enrollment training keys. You can also go into a student's enrollment record, and when you edit it, there's a payment tab, and on that payment tab, it shows you which key was used and that it was a training key. Another place you can see these are from Find Enrollment Training Keys. On Site Administration, that's on the class enrollment tile. And when you bring this up, it's really looking for the training key. You can add output options that show who the enrollment is and when it was redeemed. You can filter by things like class or course or your student's name to be able to find keys. And the last place you can look is in Find Enrollments. Here you'll have to add a payment type filter and a payment type output option, and you can filter by training key, and it'll show you your students and which ones have redeemed, and it gives you the key number as well. So that's enrollment training keys. Our next look is going to be at another class training key, which is an event training key. With enrollment training keys, you're giving a unique key to each user. With an event training key, all your users in the class will register with the same key. Event training keys have two different options for redemption. You can set them to redeem from the time your class is created with a key up until the end of the class, or you can have it set from the time the key has been created through the class ending and then all the way through the post-class lab access based on the course. So why would somebody want to do that? Maybe you had a really good class that was virtual and you have all the video recordings set in the class, and you want to give someone lab access to those recordings because they can't make a class date that you have set. So you would be billed for the enrollment at the time that that person is enrolled in that post-class lab access. And their lab access is determined by the end date of the class. So if it's 180 days of post-class lab access and you're enrolling someone in the class a month after it ended, they're only going to have 5 months of lab access to that class. When a student redeems the key, they're registered in the enrolled status and they're all set to take that class once it starts. Canceling a student works the same way as any enrollment. Again, it is student or an administrator can cancel that student, can cancel that enrollment right up until the start of the class. After the class is started, you'll need to contact our support for assistance in canceling them. And billing for the enrollment is based on after the class starts, any student in the enrolled status is going to be billed for. Event training key is created. You can either do it when the class is created or edit the class afterwards. If you have this truncated view of the basic class creation, then you'll need to show advanced settings. And down here at the very bottom, a checkbox is allow automatic enrollment using event training key. Once you enable that, a unique key is put into place for you. You can type over that key as long as it's unique and not one you've used for an event before. You can use it or you can generate a new key. Here's where the settings are for how long the key can be redeemed. So it defaults to until the event ends, but you can choose to have it after it ends, which is the post-class lab access time frame. A few things that you need to note. I have come in here and looked for my allow automatic enrollment using event training key without adding a course, and it has thrown me for a loop because you must add a course before this field becomes available. So you won't see it if there is no course added yet. Another thing that you should be aware of, you can, in fact, if you want to use event training keys for all of your classes or at least have them available to use for all your classes, on the organization profile, on the preferences tab under classes, we do have a field called Use Event Training Key for Self-Enrollment. If you select that, it will automatically add an event training key onto each and every one of your classes you create. Really important is that the event training key allows all the students in class to register for class. So we don't know who those students are. So we will allow anybody using that key to be registered and enrolled into your class up to the maximum number of students you have set for the class. It'll be really important for you if you are using these and you know, I only have 5 people coming to this class that am paid for this class. So I would want to set the maximum students to 5, because if I leave it at 20, one of the students may get inventive and send the key out to his 15 best friends, and all of a sudden you have more enrollments than people who have paid for the class. And it's also wise to check the roster to see who actually has enrolled. Once you have added the event training key, it shows up right here on the class profile, and ops managers and instructors can see the class. This is where you can have your instructor go to distribute the key at the beginning of a class. Usually they can write it up on a board, or if they're in a virtual classroom, they can share it through a whiteboard and have all the students register and enroll in the class at the same time. One other thing to be aware of is that since this key is usable by anybody until you hit the maximum number of students in the class, sometimes you'll have a user who will register and enroll, and then they either get out of their account or get bumped out, and they come back in, and instead of using their username and password to log in, they use that key again, and they can't use the same user account because you must have a unique email. So they'll create another user account, and then you have one user who has 2 enrollments in the class. And that can block another user from getting into the class and being able to be enrolled because they've used their seat. So you can contact our help desk to resolve that, but there is another thing that you can do is when people have duplicate or have created multiple user accounts for themselves, you can go into the user profile and use the merge tool. And the first account that you choose is actually going to be the account that saves the username, the password, and all of that information. When you merge the accounts, if there's any training in either or other information, it will merge them together, and then it eliminates the second account that you put in the merge tool. So that is another way for you guys to do that. And there is documentation on how to merge users out there. When you want to view the event training key and who has used them, you can see the key from the class. And in order to see people that have used the event training key, you can go to Find Enrollments, choose Event Training Key, and hit Search. It's not going to give you a key number. You'll actually have to open that class, but you can see that they used an event training key in order to enroll into the class. Okie dokie. We're going to move on to self-paced training keys. We're going to start with a training key pool. So a training key pool creates course assignments, and for self-paced training here, you'll be creating one course assignment at a time. And if you don't want to create a bunch of one course assignment at a time, you can create a training key pool. For instance, you know that there's a course that multiple users are going to be using self-paced. You would create a pool, or an organization has come to you and said, I need 15 people in my IT department to take this course. I'm not sure exactly who those people are, but I know I need them to take it over a period of time. Instead of waiting for them to get you the users or having to create 15 user accounts and then 15 course assignments, you could just create a training key pool for them. The pool gives access to one course with multiple keys to distribute to different users. The user can take and retake that training as long as the course assignment is valid, usually 180 days. Keys can be redeemed while the pool is active. You can see here on a training key pool that we have a start and expiration date. So you can't redeem a key before the pool starts or after the pool is expired, and you can set those dates yourself. When a student redeems the key, the course assignment is created in an active status, and that is a billable event for us. The creation of the course assignment through a key or just manually created is what we bill for, whether or not the student ever takes that training. However, we do have a new feature where you can cancel a course assignment for a student. If you're in the course assignment and you are editing the course assignment, there are 2 parameters that allow you to change this active status to canceled. One is that course assignment has to be created within the last 24 hours. I created this morning, so it's still set up for me to be able to cancel it. And the other parameter is that the student cannot have launched any labs. I can cancel this for the student because of those 2 items are met. If you need to cancel something outside of that, you'll need to contact our support. How do I create a key pool?
To begin with, I am going to actually skip over the name of the pool because when I select a course, it's actually going to input the org name and also the name of the course. So I'm going to click on Choose and search for my course. And I see it right here. I'm going to double click on it to add it. And you can see that it did in fact add my organization name and the course name. And you can change this to whatever you want for the key pool. If there's a certain company that you're selling the keys to and it's exclusive to them, then you can put that name in or connect it to an invoice or anything that you want. Now let's talk a little bit about organization and also make these keys available to everyone using the site Career Rocket with the URL that's listed here. First of all, organization is in place in order to establish who has access to manage the key pool. So if I've set this up at Career Rocket, it is a parent site, and anybody who has organization management over that parent organization can then edit and revise the pool. If a person only has organization management to a child organization under Career Rocket, then they do not have the right to edit or manage the key pool. The original way that the keys were set up, and they still can be set up this way if you'd like, the keys were set up so that they could only be redeemed by users belonging to the organization where the key pool resides, in this case Career Rocket, or to its parent organization. If I was given a key and my user account was in a child organization, so if it was in, let's say, Career Rocket Demo, and I tried to redeem it, I would get a message that the key is invalid. If you still want to restrict access by redeeming keys to a particular child organization, you can still use this feature. And to do that, you would uncheck the box here for make these keys available to everyone using the site. Make these keys available to everyone using the site name checkbox here is a way for you to make the keys in the pool redeemable by anybody in the parent organization and all its child organizations, as long as they're using the same site URL. If they use this URL to log in, and you have this checked, and they belong to either this organization or a child organization of this organization, then they will be able to redeem the key. And this feature is enabled by default on all our key pools now. Starts and expires are used to determine when your key pools are active. And by active, I mean the keys are valid within the time frame that is set here. So by default, it's going to start on today's date and it's going to expire 1 year from now. If I don't want the keys to start being used until June, then I would put in June 1st as my start date. So anybody tries to hand out a key and that person attempts to redeem the key before June 1st, they're going to get that the key is invalid. And then you can set the key pool to expire anytime you want. It can be extended as long as it is not expired. Those keys can still be redeemed. The content availability sets how many days a course assignment can be used once the key is redeemed. So it's defaulting here to 60 days. The majority of our course assignments are valid for 180 days, and you can set that up.
To create training keys is the next piece that you're going to come around to do. And we have several options here for creating training keys. You can type in a key and you can keep adding fields in order to type in those keys. Or you can add multiple training keys at once by generating them in Excel. Some of our customers actually are handing out the keys physically, and so they want to be able to go through Excel and remove things like I's and ones and O's and zeros and fives and S's, and then paste them in here in order to be able to keep people from making too many mistakes when they're trying to type those in. And then the easy option is to generate training keys. It will allow you to generate as many as you want, thousands if you want, and you are, again, not billed for those. So once you create these keys, they are sitting here, and the big temptation right now is to go, hey, I need one key. I'm going to go and distribute this to somebody right now. And I've had a surprising number of people come back and they have neglected to save the key pool. So once they distributed that key and left the page, it vanished and the key was invalid. So always remember to save. Your key pool is created. You can export your training keys over here. See the creation, you can see who redeemed it and what date they redeemed it on. How to find different training keys for a training key pool. Because it's creating a course assignment, you can come to find course assignments. You can add that payment type and an output option for the payment type, and you'll be able to see those training keys out there with the number that was used for that student. You can also go directly to a user's course assignment, edit it, and again, go to that payment tab and you can see the key that was used. You can also go to find training key pools. So let's say someone gives you a training key number and they're like, for some reason, my key isn't working. And maybe you know what pool it was, so you could put the name of the pool in the field, or they give you the training key and you can just put it into the training key filter here and do a search. And it's going to find what pool that key belongs to. So I can open up that pool. And if you do have thousands of keys in there, you'll want to do a control find, input that key, and it'll highlight it for you on the page. And in this instance, I can see that it already was distributed to a student and I would need to get them a new key. Last but not least, we're going to talk about subscription and subscription training keys. Course assignment assigns one course for self-paced learning. A subscription assignment allows multiple courses to be opened for self-paced learning. So subscription comes down to being a set of courses which are available to the subscriber to take and retake an unlimited number of times within a limited time period. Let's take a look at what a subscription looks like, because most of us have probably not been in there to see them. And my student here actually has several subscriptions. So we'll take a look at the challenge labs. And when I'm in a subscription, I can see all the courses available, and you can see we have quite a few courses that are available in here. Each one of these tiles is a different course. When I hover over it, it gives me the course name, it gives me a description of the name, it tells me the activity and the amount of time that is going to use it. And if I click start right now, it is going to create a course assignment for me. So I have just created a new course assignment for myself from the subscription, and I can do that from any of the courses there. In order to have subscription keys, we have to have a subscription in place. So it starts with a subscription profile, some important things that affect the keys and the subscription assignments that you would make. If I edit this, the duration set down here, and this is to give people like pretty much unlimited access, we put in 999 days, is similar to what we set on the course assignment, where you're setting the duration for how long the user has access to all of those courses in the subscription. So if I set it to 180 days, they're not going to be able to create multiple new course assignments off of the same course. As long as the subscription profile is enabled, keys can be redeemed from it. Availability over here on the side is what actually sets what organization can redeem the keys. So subscriptions are redeemed while a subscription profile is enabled. When a student redeems the key, the subscription is available to them to use immediately. It opens right up to that page with all the tiles on it. You cannot cancel a subscription for a student. You'll have to contact support to cancel it in order to not be billed, or to expire it if you want to end their access to their training. Billing, you're not billed for the creation of a subscription profile. You're not billed for subscription keys being created. You're not even billed when a subscription key is redeemed. You are billed for any new course assignment that's created. So when a user goes in there and they start that course, that's when it becomes a billable event. They have access to take any course assignment for 180 days, most of the time. I won't say every single course has that. You are billed once for the course assignment during that period. If you have a longer subscription period, for instance, if you're doing 365 days and the student takes course ABC on the first day of the subscription assignment, and then 7 months later, they start it again, You're going to be billed once when they started it on the first day and once when they started it at 7 months. So they'll be invoiced for both of those. Creating a training key pool from a subscription. Right here on the subscription profiles, I have a create subscription key link. There's also access to this on the site admin. If I open this, it's pretty simple. It'll put in the subscription profile name. It'll default to the organization the profile has for the organization, but again, availability is based on the profile, not on this. Then you'll be able to come in and generate keys, and this works the same as the other ones when we generated them. And again, you do need to save before you start handing those out. That is the happiness of a subscription training key. It takes you straight into Find Training Keys, and that is also available on the admin tile for training keys. I can find training keys out here. I can add different output options, expiration, redeemed. I'm looking just for one subscription profile. Again, I could look for a specific key if I wanted to. You can find who was given a key based on that, or which keys are still open to be used. So that is all of my demo on training keys and training key pools. We do have some resources available to you about training keys. If you go to lods.1/documentation, you look at the administrator role, you'll be able to find some documentation there. And that completes the demo and all the information. I want to thank you for being here.